Stop telling your friends that are getting divorced that they need to take some time and date themselves after the divorce. No, listen, a lot of times when we're getting divorced because we've essentially been on our own for a while, okay? So we don't need that. We need to figure out what we do like, because we know what we don't like, and that is our ex-husbands.
The amount of chronically single girlfriends that I know, either approaching their 30s or already in their 30s, that are like wanting to settle down and have a family, but can't, is an epidemic at this point. And we're talking about women that are financially stable, have educations, are beautiful, have their fathers in their lives, like come from nice families. So I'll have conversations with my friends and they'll say things like, oh, like, you know, I want him to make like at least $200,000 a year, like at minimum. He has to be in shape. Like, I really like a guy with a six-pack. I love a guy who's like 6'2". I need a guy with like a full head of hair. Like, I can't do bald guys. Every single time you throw a new specification into what you desire, the only person that fits within the parameters of what you are looking for exists in your dreams. No, I've had girlfriends tell me like, oh my God, no, he's great, this and that, like, but I can't do a short king. So you're telling me you found a guy that's like not bad looking, has a great job with benefits, like financially stable, comes from a great family, and you can't do it because his legs aren't long enough? Like, you are out of your mind.
All right, ladies, are we seriously still doing this? So, many amazing women out there hitting their 30s ready to settle down, but the checklist for Mr. Perfect keeps growing. He needs to make $200,000 a year, have abs like a fitness model, be over 6 feet tall, and heaven forbid he's bald or not, a tall king. Seriously? You find a great guy, kind, successful, from a good family, and you're tossing him aside because he's not 6 feet 2 inches? Let's be real. The guy who matches every one of those dream specs only exists in your dreams. The more we narrow our options with these unrealistic standards, the fewer real connections we'll find. Maybe it's time to reassess what really matters in a partner. What do you think?
Number 1, I do not cook for my husband. I only cook for my children. My husband will be making his own breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Hey, Bundy! I had steak tonight. What are you having?
If I was the mailman, I'd be having your wife.
Number 2, I do not help him pay any bills. So if he is short on the rent, on utilities, or anything like that, it is not my problem. I will not be helping him out.
Hey, excuse me. What do you do?
Oh, I don't know. Nothing really. I watch TV.
Well, then how do you make money?
Easy. My husband has a job. He brings home a paycheck. And what he doesn't give to me, I take.
Wow! Hey, Becky, come here, you gotta hear this.
3, I do not do his laundry.
Kill me, I'll take care of you.
Oh, yeah, sure. You tourists, you can't even take care of yourselves.
No, believe me.
Okay, so to answer this question, first and foremost, let me tell you something. Stereotyping yourself into a category such as a cowboy, a businessman, a jokester, a whatever it is okay. But for anyone to get someone such as myself, here's what it is. It's really not that hard. Here's what it is, okay? You have to think of yourself like this. Are you a man of action? Okay, and a man, what first, let's take that word, action. Action is the process of something typically to achieve aim. So if you're a man of action, you're going to attract someone such as myself. A man of action has goals, his own goals. And I don't mean all of a sudden you meet me and all of a sudden I'm your goal. Because that's annoying. You don't want to be that guy. You want to be the man. This is man of action. The man of action is the man of the hour, the man of the minute. No matter where you are in life, are you a man of action? But being a man of action, having your own goals, and then attracting someone with goals, such as myself, there's not a better recipe than that. Man of action.
Yes, you look great, but what's behind all that beauty? Another list of demands for men? When they talk about a man of action, sure, it's attractive because we all want someone with ambitions and goals by our side. But let's be honest, it can create extra pressure on men, forcing them to constantly prove something. It's important to be driven, but sometimes it feels like being just a good, caring guy isn't enough unless you're also out there conquering the world. It's a bit exhausting. What do you think? Do you agree that this man of action image creates unnecessary pressure, or is it something worth striving for? Share your thoughts in the comments.
This is why I believe I've had a pretty good experience with dating men. This is my personal opinion, is my personal perspective. This is just things that I've noticed that I do, or the ways that I am that have given me a good experience with men. Number one, I do not like anyone who doesn't like me back. If you don't think I'm hot, I don't think you're hot. If you don't think I'm cool, I don't think you're cool. If you don't like me, I don't like you. It's nothing personal. Everyone has their own thing. If I'm not your type, that literally doesn't mean anything about me. It means that you have a type and I'm not it. It's fine. Number two, if you think I'm hot and you want to take me out on a date, you want to get to know me, you're taking me to dinner. I'm not going to a museum. I'm not going bowling. I'm not going walking in a park. I'm not going on a hike. We're going to dinner. You're going to put your best foot forward as a man. And if you're not willing to do that, then we will not hang out. That's fine. Literally, no problem. No coffee, no lunch. You're taking me to dinner. I want to see your etiquette. I want to see, it shows so much about how you were raised, how you take a woman to dinner. It's going to tell me everything I need to know about you as a man. Can you hold a conversation? Do you offer to pick me up? Do you offer to send an Uber? What kind of place do you take me? Like, what are your manners when we get there? How do you treat the waiter? Like, that's going to show me so much about you. What you order, how many drinks you have, like, it tells you so much about a man. Number three, I do not date a guy who clubs. I do not date a guy who's always out partying. I do not date a guy who has a super curated Instagram feed. Like, none of that. If you're always trying to keep up with the Joneses and you're always posting that you're at Nobu or you're at this club or you're at this thing and you're at this event, like, you're always looking for the new next thing. You don't have stability and you're not busy enough, and I'm not interested in that. I go for little to no social media, dad energy vibes. I like dad energy. If you're a little dorky, you're a little nerdy, you're a little awkward, even better. Dad energy vibes, no social media. Number four, how you talk about your mother and how you talk about your ex-girlfriends and how you talk about your sister or sisters if you have them. If you ever say that your mother, any of your sisters, or any of your ex-girlfriends are if you utter that, or they're crazy or whatever, if you don't have, like, even, they don't have to be perfect people, but you have, like, if he doesn't have, like, class and how he describes them, no, red flag. Number five, and you guys are going to fight me on this one, if he has female friends. If he has female friends, that is a positive. I want to date a guy who has female friends. I want to date a guy who is used to seeing women in a context that is not romantic or sexual, that he likes being around, and that he respects his people. That is not a red flag to me. That is a green flag. And number six, if he has a career that he is happy in and that he's fulfilled in and that he feels like checks all the boxes he needs to check. If he doesn't have that as a man, he's not going to be happy, and he's going to take that out on you. I don't care if he's an electrician or if he's a movie producer. Like, if you have to have something that keeps you busy, keeps you motivated, keeps you productive, and that you feel like motivates you, inspires you, makes you feel accomplished. Even if you do have a good career and you have way too much time on your hands, like, I do not want to date a guy who has a ton of time on his hands. I only want to date someone who has a life and things that he is passionate about outside of his relationship with me. And that's a good rule of thumb for both genders. So yeah, if you'd like more, let me know, because I'm sure I can bring up more, but those are the first 6 that come to mind.
It seems like she treats dating like a business transaction or a job interview. Don't forget to bring your resume when you take her out to dinner, because this chick has some seriously high standards. Apparently, the position in her life is always available and highly coveted, or at least, that's what she wants to believe. Fast forward 10 years, and everything will change. Instead of high standards and demands, there will be a flood of lonely tears and snotty regrets. I think these types of women are best avoided because, for them, relationships are just another checkbox, like building a successful career.
Why men are checking out of society and relationship.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is one of the coolest of the Gobble Club podcast. So the topic for this week, why are men going their own way. So I was going to give you guys a explanation of why men are going their own way, but I found this video of this woman who had a great breakdown of why men are going their own way, so I'm gonna let her take it away.
People don't go where they're unwanted, and everybody always puts the blame and shame on men for everything that has gone wrong in society. A woman wants a man who is emotionally available and sensitive, but if a man expresses his sensitivity, he is told that he has a fragile ego. If a man wants to defend himself against a woman, she will shame him into being quiet by saying he's either too aggressive or he has toxic masculinity. If a woman says something offensive, she is protected. If a man says something...
Anyways, whether you agree or disagree, I invite you for this week's live show. We have a great panel. See you guys there. Facts over feelings. Peace.
So am I like the only woman that no longer gets approached by men? No, because I had to actually sit and think about this, and I had to ask myself, when is the last time a man came up to me and wanted to get to know me or exchange numbers? And it's been a long time.
Well, I got news for you. It's going to be even longer because y'all are full of it. That's it. No YouTube talking points, no elaborate explanations, because at this point, y'all ain't listening. Dudes keep telling y'all what the problem is, but you just keep powering through it. You just keep saying it's not you, it's the men. So just keep doing that. You'll see how that works out for you.
If you are a man and I message you, I expect you to open my message in 1/8 of a second. And I expect you to respond in under 2 minutes. And if I don't message you first, I expect you to message me anyway. Anyway.
Very nice, very dumb. You'd think a man would have nothing to do but fuss over every new notification on his phone. Judging by this girl, she herself seems to respond once every half day.
It's the only time having a boyfriend is worth it
is when
he is able to fully support you and pay all your bills. I said it.
Yeah, you said it. But wouldn't it just be so much easier to admit that one is broke and can't actually handle being an adult and paying one's own bills?
He's not your husband. If you're gonna be a girlfriend to someone, he needs to be paying all your bills. Otherwise, why is he there? What is his purpose?
Well, I could think of several reasons actually, but what do I know?
If he's not, he's just a boyfriend. Meaning if he leaves you, and a boyfriend is not a legal title.
Congratulations for figuring that part out.
Whatever, I'm going for it. I'm gonna tell the story again because I have multiple times and it has never picked up and it deserves to. The most unhinged date I have ever been on was with a guy from Bumble. This happened back in like March 2022. So I matched with this guy based on his profile. He is a dreamboat. I'm 25 at the time. He was 27. He was in a master's program in the city. He was from Hungary or Austria. I think he was Austrian. So I matched with him and we chatted a little bit before exchanging numbers, and then we decided we wanted to go on a date. Now, it was his idea to call before the date, which I loved. So we got on the phone the night before, and this is when I started seeing a few red flags, but at the time I was really dating around. I was unhappy in and out of this toxic relationship, and I was also heavily drinking. If you don't know, I'm in recovery, so I get on the phone with this guy. It seems, relatively normal. Obviously, he has this little accent. And he asks me what I like to wear, which I found to be a weird question. And I answered back like, I don't know, clothes. And he clarifies he was asking what brands I like to wear. I was like, if you want to put me up in a Dior dress, like, I will absolutely wear that on our date. But I do not have that in my closet. Like, we're looking at Forever 21, buddy. He did not like that answer, but he let me know he likes when women wear dresses, when they wear heels, and I was like, oh yeah, I got those things. Why am I entertaining at this point? Sheer boredom. So we set up a lunch date. He sends me this website to a restaurant. I agree, it looks nice. I know what BART station I'm getting off at, and we set up a time for me to meet him in the city tomorrow. So just to be clear, this is the dress that I was wearing, and I think I got it in like 2015 from Forever 21. Also, you can't see, but I was wearing thigh-high stiletto boots. So the next day rolls around and I go to my local BART station and I'm getting ready to get on the train when he calls me. I was supposed to get off at Montgomery Station. He goes, come to Castro instead. Completely different part of the city, and the train does not go there. I tell him this because I'm literally boarding my train. I'm like, bro, what exit do I get off at? And he's like, well, just take Muni to Castro after you get off BART. I let him know, sir, you know what? I'm on a first date right now, and I am not gonna take 2 different forms of public transportation last minute to a different location just because you asked me to. I could tell he's a little annoyed on the phone. He's definitely not by himself, but he's like, all right, fine. Come to Civic Center then. The Civic Center? If you're not familiar with the city, the Civic Center is probably the last place that you, as a 25-year-old girl in stiletto boots and a mini dress, wants to get off by herself. But at this point, I'm literally on the train and the train is moving. So I'm like, okay, I get off at this time. Meet me at the stairs at this time. He says, okay. I get there. I text him. He's not there. I call him. He's not there. He drops me a pin. It's 0.7 miles away and he just says, start walking. So I assume he's going to meet me halfway. No. The pin is an apartment complex. It's his friend's and he wants me to come inside and see the rooftop garden. I'm like, I'm sorry, no, we were going to lunch. I'm not going inside a residence with you. I don't even know you. Again, he seems annoyed, but he comes down to the street. He greets me. He pulls up my dress like so to look at the pattern. I was wearing shorts underneath, gotcha. And he proceeds to tow me down the street to just the first cafe that he finds. It's one of those restaurants where you pay first at the counter and they give you a number to take to your table. So he orders and then he pays and he takes his number, and I was gonna order after him because if I'm not getting my food paid for, that's fine, but like he just started walking to sit down to his table and expected me to follow. So I go to sit down, and I guess the food that he ordered was for both of us. Eventually, the server brings out a sandwich, 2 plates, a glass of oat milk, and a ramekin of mayo. This is important. I take a little piece of a sandwich, just, to be polite, and we start talking. First question out of his mouth, what is your parents' combined annual income? Okay. He then asks what my career is. I was between jobs. I told him the last thing that I did was teaching kindergarten and I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it just doesn't pay that well. He goes, well, yeah, it shouldn't. And I go, wait, pardon, did you say should or shouldn't? Like, I didn't hear you. He goes, no, you shouldn't get paid for that job. It's an easy job. Anybody can do it. Okay. Then he's hounding me that I'm like not pursuing my career hard enough. But then he asks me when I'm going to have kids because American men don't know how to date. And you should know if you want to make a baby with a woman in 8 months to a year. Those were his words. And I'm sitting there like, did the time start already? Then he tells me I better hurry up and have my kids in the next 3 years. Otherwise, I'll be too old and they'll come out disabled. This is when I told him that my mother had me at 34. By the way, I already said this. I was 25 on this date. So at this point, he's done eating. There was whipped cream on top of the oat milk, and it was in his beard and a little bit in his nose hair at this point. He picks his plate up and licks the crumbs off of it. Then he reaches across the table and licks my plate too. He then picks up the ramekin of mayo and literally like this. Now, at this point, I had forewarned him. It was Super Bowl Sunday. I told him I wanted to catch the halftime show, and he was like, ho, silly Americans. So I can see on the TV at the cafe next door that the Super Bowl is starting. I'm like, ah, shucks, I gotta get going. It's really no surprise at this point that he is completely unwilling to walk me back to the closest BART station, but there happens to be a Muni station right there. So he walks me to the station, and the Muni's pulling up, and he pulls me in for what I'm assuming is gonna be a hug. It was a 7-second French kiss. Could taste the mayonnaise. I hate mayonnaise. And right before he pulled away, right before the train pulled up, he gave me a little honk and told me to call him next time I was in the city. So yeah, that's who you find on Bumble.
It's strange. What was she thinking when she continued that bizarre date with him? It's obvious the guy is eccentric, and it made her wary. But she did nothing about it. Do you think she'll call him again? I wouldn't be surprised. Many women think that if they meet a bad boy, he'll somehow become a gentleman just for them. Why go through the trouble of fire and water? Just find someone who's at least comfortable and pleasant to be around. Yet, no matter how many times these stories repeat, women still fall for the bad boys.